So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So who are we at Zyxel? Well, we've been fine-tuning how people connect and protect their networks for over 35 years and finding those out-of-tune beats and those off-key notes. They that way to create harmony in everything we do and allow our customers to really say goodbye to out-of-tune networks and say hello to working smarter from anywhere. So we are Zyxel Networks. Over 100 million devices making global connections today. We've been in the business now for over 35 years, 650 passionate employees worldwide, with 1 million businesses working smarter with Zyxel solutions. Um, uh, Over 150 markets being served today with those employees as well. We are an award-winning brand internationally. As you can see, some of the awards that we have here, some of our channel awards, as well as our CRN Tech Innovations Awards. If you just joined late, you also, just to remind you, if you do have any questions, please use the Q&A section for that. We are we partner with industry leaders to provide their solutions within our products or integrate their technologies into our products to service our partner base and our customers. We are also a channel friendly vendor where we have account managers, David, Andy, and Jacob, who manage the North America and Canada. And any of the customers, any of these states that you're in, reach out to us, to those account managers who will provide you pretty much end-to-end support, whether you need help at the distribution level with pricing or stocking or drop shipping or direct shipping, these kinds of things. We are here to help you, and as well as the pre-sales support as well. So if you need tech support or a systems engineer to help you figure out which application to use or which types of products to use, all of that can be coordinated with these account managers here. We're here to help you, so as best as we can in every segment of the business that you're trying to accomplish. So with Nebula, this is really our, I would say, major differentiator when you're dealing with networking products. There are many networking vendors, but there are only maybe a small handful that have actually a full networking stack. But we are actually, Zyxel, our Nebula platform is the first full cloud stack for SMB. That means all products, security, firewall, switches, wireless access points, all managed in the cloud. It was launched in 2016. We have over 130 devices now supported in our Nebula Cloud platform. And so the only vendors that you would typically find with an entire networking stack are in the enterprise space. So we do offer a unique solution where we have every product that you need in a networking SMB network space managed in the single pane of glass. So why is Nebula important? What's the big deal? Well, if you are a break-fix customer or you're looking to become an MSP, there are a lot of things that you have to consider and put into consideration when you are wanting to build that. So not only do you have to purchase the equipment, you have to have means to install the equipment. So of course, that's what you would do, and even in a break fix. But then you start having to add ways or figure out, how do I monitor this equipment? How do I monitor these networks? SNMP, syslogs, things like that. Then you have to build some backdoor or infrastructure to get to those devices, whether it be VLAN or some way to manage it remotely. You have to have then monitoring platforms, maybe like a SolarWinds, and that requires, investment into servers and data storage of those logs that then you have to host in a cloud. So you have to pay for that co-location, the co-hosting there in a data center. And then when it comes to running updates and patches, you have to find a way again to manage it yourself individually or have some way to script these updates and changes. And then managing users from radius authentication to Active Directory authentication, or even guest network access, things like that, all managed in the network remotely somewhere as well. So many things to keep in mind, consider. But with Nebula, we basically improve the kind of the process. You still have to buy the equipment and install it, but then now the monitoring is already built into the system. You have access to remotely manage and configure these equipment. The monitoring platform is built in as well as the data storage. You just have to enable the monitoring so that you can see that information. Data storage up to 365 days of those logs and information. You can schedule updates and setting changes, etc., done through the cloud, and then manage the users in the cloud as well. But now there's a way for you to do that in a central location. So that improves the investment that you would have to take, as well as the time to do that, and then the infrastructure that you have to build out to support that. So it saves you money overall. So say hello to our Nebula platform. Our Nebula Cloud platform is a free management solution. You can set up devices without even unboxing. You can register the devices using a mobile app or entering the serial MAC information or scan the QR code that's on the box. And you can literally configure the devices without even unboxing it. So it makes it super easy for you to do installation, especially with the app that's available. You can even use this app to provide third-party installers access to that organization or site as a temporary access. Maybe you want to set them for 48 hours, they can do the installation. And then after the 48 hours, that account expires, so they no longer have access to that particular site or organization. So you don't have to go back in and remove them, et cetera. So it makes management really easy for that kind of installation. But once the devices are scanned in and configured, and once it dials home, it will automatically grab its firmware and configuration. And that allows for you to, now that's in the cloud, to have access to configure, to troubleshoot anywhere, anytime you have access to internet. So you have internet connectivity as well as a browser. Even if it's on a mobile device, you can have access and full control and configure, monitor all of those things from that device. It's built with MSPs and ISPs and global ITs in mind. We build it in a structure that allows for MSPs and IT managers to manage multiple organizations that can each have multiple sites underneath. So you can imagine maybe you have a retail customer and they have 100 stores. You can manage that entire organization with 100 sites underneath it and do cross configurations and things like that. It helps to streamline everything under that single pane of glass. It's hassle-free, allows for you to pre-configure those devices, like I mentioned. It also does cloud backup, restore. You can clone devices and configurations, and you create templates and profiles to help you speed up the scale of installation. Now, of course, if you're just an IT person and you just had one site, this will still give you a lot of information and you won't have to create all these different templates and profiles. You can just configure the device just straight up. But because of those templates and profiles, it's made so that you can preset typical things that you would normally configure, and switches and access points to easily just recall into these new devices. Or my favorite is you create a base template site that you can clone these devices from and start then as kind of your best practice there. And it's built with scalability in mind as well. So whether you're managing only 5 customers today and want to expand or have future endeavors to get to 1,000 customers, this platform will scale as you need. And currently there's millions of devices that are currently supported on our platform today, currently on organization sites and devices. And when it comes to updates, it's free, it's automatic. If you set it that way, you get those updates at a scheduled time. So you can choose when you want those devices to get updated so it doesn't impact your customers. Or you can do it manually as well. So those are firmware updates or things like that. So it helps to minimize outages when you make sure that the devices are up to date, they are secure, or get the best features or the current features that you want to maximize the user experience there. You can connect workplaces very easily through the cloud. So wizards that help you do site-to-site VPN, client-to-site VPN to make sure that they are encrypted and for any kind of work from home environments there. You can visualize your network, get information very quick and easily with this topology view, which is part of our Pro Pack. It allows for you to have port information, signal strength, status, device information, and then drill in. You can get real-time port PoE utilization. You can look at the different stacks that are there if there are multiple switches, and you get live diagnostic tools, including remote cable testing tools there, and application threat information, when it's available if you're using our firewalls. So because if you are using our firewalls, they are AI-driven security that constantly updates. And again, through the partners that you see at the bottom here, provide you different aspects. So if you're looking for ransomware protection, content filtering, sandboxing, any kind of UTM network threat management, this is the solution that will be available that provides flexible security for the network environment. On the switching side, it's also powered by AI as well, with intelligent PoE that can power up to 2 times more devices than some of our competitors because of how it manages the PoE budgets. It can identify network issues and take action. It can detect and autocorrect when a PoE device is no longer available. It can try to resuscitate it, bring it back by power cycling the PoE, and it can make it easy for you to install VLANs, voice VLANs, automated VLANs, etc., to segregate your network. It has auto backup and also virtual stacking options. On the wireless, it also uses AI for smart health, for Wi-Fi aid, designed to monitor your network performance and then see how it can improve that. If there's some issues, if anomalies or connection issues that are detected, it can take action and try to maybe migrate users over to a different band, different channel, or even different access point altogether. And it allows for us to use this platform to give admins control over how they want users to roam across the network. So it helps to optimize the Wi-Fi experience. There's also an AI assistant on Nebula as well that lets you ask it questions. If you're not familiar with Nebula, you can ask it basic questions like, how do I set up my wireless network? And it will discover for you and send you information which you need to know where to go in order to set up that. So that makes it very simple and easy for you to kind of get your to help you with the learning curve. And did I mention that it's also free? So Nebula base pack is free, and we have something that we call Nebula Flex. So what Nebula Flex models in our portfolio mean is that they can go cloud or standalone. Actually, pretty much all of our products today that it's manageable is Nebula Flex capable, meaning that if you've added it to your Nebula Cloud for that customer, it will automatically switch to Nebula Cloud, download its configuration and its firmware. If it doesn't detect that it is in the cloud, it will automatically go to standalone mode, where you would just traditionally manage and configure the device on the device itself and not have to log into the website, the cloud side. But then at any moment in time, if you do want to change it into to cloud, you can basically input it into the cloud, do a reset on the device, and it will then register itself in the cloud. So we have Base Pack, Plus Pack, and Pro Pack. Base Pack is what was free, and it has kind of a great feature set for what it offers for free. But most MSPs and most of our customers move, and especially in the system integrator or the value-added reseller side, move into the Pro because they want to have real-time, full functionality, and also full logs up to 365 days for audits and things like that. So there's a lot of different tools that come along with the Pro for even just a nominal fee. But if you have, I would say, 10 or more customers that you're managing, or multiple admins that are managing within your company, it's beneficial to get the MSP pack as well as an add-on, and it allows for an account that has the MSP access to do some advanced user admin, team management, cross-organizational templates, etc., to make it easier for you to manage all of those different types of customers under that glass. And we currently support over 130 different devices in Nebula today. So what's included? So like I mentioned earlier, the base pack, it only comes with a 24-hour log. And so this is still great for like break fix scenarios. But again, most people will go to the Pro Pack, which has the 1 year rolling. Base pack only is limited for each organization to have 5 admins, and this means your customers. So 5 admins, they're assigned to it, and up to 50 users from an authentication standpoint. So that includes like guests, includes actually accounts with named, login passwords, etc. Whereas in the Pro pack, you have no limit. Um, so you could put as many admin accounts or as many users as you'd like. But then there's also some other, features there as well. You can see the Pro Pack obviously gives you a lot more for audit change logs, organizational wide configuration template cloning and templating. That is probably going to save you a lot of time when you do come up with a base template that you like. And it's best for that kind of application. You can use that to clone as your next base for the customer that you are installing for. Makes it super easy for you to manage. And then we also introduce what we call Circle. Circle is a licensing and subscription platform that helps you manage these devices that are in the cloud, both on Nebula as well as the security licenses for your firewalls. And it brings it all together under a single pane of glass. It allows you to import and manage all of those devices from security to Nebula. So those switches, gateways, access points, you can organize them into groups. You can import and register devices here as well as get alignment. So if you're renewing, maybe you've added different devices at different periods of time. So let's say for this location, you had a firewall installed, but then 6 months later, you put in an access point. Well, the licensing on them may be kind of offset if you want to kind of what we call like calculate and kind of auto pick a billing time or date that you want them all to co-terminate to, then you can do that within the system. So you can say, hey, I want all these devices now to go to this, February 1st is the next billing cycle for the year, and it will just automatically renew for a full year and whatever it takes to top it off to get to that. So it allows for you to do that and activate things in bulk. But I think a bigger piece that we've launched within the Circle platform is pay as you go. So this allows for you to opt in organizations that have Nebula and security gold licenses. If you're using our firewalls, they allow for you to go kind of on a month-to-month basis. So you can opt them in and you just get one bill for all the organizations that you've opted into and say, hey, you have 40 APs and you will have 10 switches and 10 firewalls. And then it will auto calculate what it would be from a Nebula standpoint on a monthly basis, and then any security licenses that you are using on that monthly basis as well. So it can be really flexible for you to have both customers that maybe go month to month, or ones that are on a long-term contract and you don't want to have to worry about managing licenses, every year or things like that. They have a 3-year contract. You can just put them on this pay-to-go service. You get billed for them, you bill your customer for it, and you're just ready to go. You're just good to go. And then as long as they're opted in, you continue to bill the customer. And then the moment you don't want to bill the customer anymore, or they don't want to cancel the service, you can go in and remove them from the pay to go. So again, simplifies the licensing management and still gives you the benefit of easy renewal of that. And you can have both types of customers. So our solutions work in many different aspects. So in a small office environment or even a home office, we have products that are in that scale where you have a multi-gig, you have a firewall, multi-gig firewall with multi-gig switches with PoE and a Wi-Fi 7, basic access points. And it can then scale to a larger office. So you get in a fuller UTM featured firewall. You might have then multi-gig 30-port switch with PoE, and then you might have a mix of access points on Wi-Fi 7 for small concentration areas as well as high concentration areas with the WPE professional ones. Then you get to a much bigger office with using higher density access points, higher density capable Wi-Fi 7 access points, all the way to, I would say, large warehouses or even large offices. Less than 500 users, I would say, is probably our sweet spot. but this could be a hotel, this could be conference centers, anything like that. You can scale it in any way you need to get that to work. So why wireless? So why Zyxel for wireless? So wireless for Zyxel, we are committed in our design to make sure that the Wi-Fi signal is built with a high quality, the components that we use as well, and then that overall improves coverage, improves speed, and also gives the user a better experience. Single click wireless mesh. There's no complex setup. There's no need to run additional cables. You can mesh the devices together through Nebula, allows for you to extend your Wi-Fi network without having to do any extra wires and such. So it's helpful to be able to mesh that to get to a coverage area you need to. But I wouldn't recommend always using mesh for multiple hops because then it does degrade the bridge kind of connection. So then it goes a little bit slower because you're borrowing bandwidth to use to make the bridge. It's also enterprise class as a standard Wi-Fi. So WPA2, WPA3 is a standard, and then roaming features as a standard as well. We have strong and smart dynamic pre-shared key capable functionality. So it allows for you to use a single SSID using WPA2 and allow for users, once they have their own passphrase, their own shared key, anyone who's using that same key are on the same network. So now you don't have to clutter up a guest network or have an SSID that says guest and one that says private, one that says for IoT devices or whatever. You can have just a single SSID for all your use there. It has machine learning, like I mentioned earlier. It allows for you to adjust channels, widths, move clients, etc., to better signals or to better channels in order to improve overall quality of the network. So dual optimized antenna is something that Zyxel offers. In a traditional access point that's made for ceiling, it's great when it's installed in the ceiling, but sometimes it doesn't allow for you to do that because there's no drop ceiling or not easily mounted in the ceiling. So people will mount it on the wall, but unfortunately, if you take a ceiling mount and you put it into a wall mount configuration, you're going to cause interference because of the way the antennas are configured. So in this particular scenario, you can see that the interference is being caused within the floors because of the way that the antenna patterns are being sent out from this particular device. But Zyxel has APs that can do dual optimized antennas, where you can switch virtually and say, hey, flip the way that it's the antennas are being projected. And instead of projecting, vertically when it's mounted on a wall, it can now project itself horizontally across the floor. So it minimizes interference between the floors while improving coverage within the floor. And one of the biggest challenges with Wi-Fi that people probably don't realize that's happening, and it's pretty much poor signal. People just say, I have bad Wi-Fi, right? Bad connectivity. But it's usually because of co-channel interference. There could be multiple access points trying to operate on the same channels, same bands, and causing a lot of noise and interference. My analogy for this is if I was sitting in a restaurant and I was trying to have a conversation with the person across the table, and if it's really loud because everybody is talking very loudly, I have to scream louder to get some understanding across the table. But if everybody just kind of quieted down and talked in a normal voice, then all of a sudden everybody could hear everybody. But it's limiting the kind of the distance, right? I can only talk across the table, but then 4 or 5 tables down the line, it won't be able to hear me. For Wi-Fi, that could be a little bit bad because then you need to have more access points to get better coverage by turning down that power. So one of the solutions is what we call smart antenna. It's a Zyxel patented solution called smart antenna. It increases capacity, increases coverage while reducing interference in the process. So how does that work? With smart antenna, you have typically, your traditional APs, they can do omnidirectional or they can do it directionalized. But with smart antenna, what happens is if there is some interference, a co-channel interference, could be another access point, maybe another vendor's access point, or maybe in the building, it's your neighbor's access point, it can cause interference. And what the smart antenna technology does is it looks at and optimizes it looks at over 4,000 optimized antenna patterns on the radio to find what is best to communicate with that client device at that base, but at that particular time while minimizing and mitigating interference that's happening. So it does that on its own. So the client device doesn't need this technology. It's agnostic to that. And so we are able to do all of the work to make it happen. So that's the improvement of Wi-Fi smart antenna from Zyxel. We have products that scale across the board from kind of a low end, small office, home office, all the way to, like I mentioned, hospitalities, enterprise class type solutions for offices, for businesses, for MDUs, all of that for whatever scale and everything in between. And Wi-Fi 7 is a hot topic, and a lot of partners are saying, "Hey, why do I need to even go to Wi-Fi 7? My internet connection or the customer's internet connection is less than a gig or just a gig. So how does 46 gigs potentially, provide me any benefit?" Well, it may not be the speed, but it may be the bandwidth and also the quality of service that will help mitigate some of these issues that you see today in Wi-Fi. Yes, it's great if you do have high bandwidth and you have local resources. Maybe you have a 10 gig network locally and there's some storage devices and they're doing all the backups via Wi-Fi. Then you can improve on that Wi-Fi connectivity, the speeds that you see there in that local network. But I would say the biggest and probably the biggest game changer in all of Wi-Fi 7 right now would be the MLO functionality. It helps to do this. So as an explanation, in our Wi-Fi 6 scenario here, you have to choose whether you use 2.4 gig or 5 gigahertz. The client connects to it and just starts using it, right? So you have a choice. It's an or scenario. Whereas with multi-link operation, MLO, in Wi-Fi 7, you get to operate on 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz at the same time, as long as your client supports it. Most clients probably will support 2 out of the 3, but some higher end clients, maybe even laptop Wi-Fi 7s will support MLO for all 3. So that means you can communicate on 2.4, 5, and 6 all at the same time, whatever is the best option and maybe the best consolidation of all 3. You can improve your bandwidth, you can lower your latency, you can increase your data rates, you get better reliability, and you can avoid interference. So it helps to orchestrate all of that on the fly. So Wi-Fi 7 is important. So this is our flagship Wi-Fi 7 access point. It is the world's first Wi-Fi 7 access point with smart antenna built in to their WBE 660S. It's a 22 gig capable firewall. Access point with Wi-Fi 7 triple radio, and it has all sorts of noise integration, noise shielding, cellular shielding, and things like that with the smart antenna technology, 10 gig uplinks and such. So it's a very high performance, high density product. So it's great for high density locations and campuses and large manufacturing or car dealerships and things like that applied for indoor or housed in an outdoor environment. We do also have outdoor APs as well that can be used in those scenarios, or even high bandwidth AR, VR type applications. So you can get high speed local via Wi-Fi and overall enhances the user experience. From the switching side of the network offering, we're going to go over some of the kind of the terminologies that you have here, but just to keep in mind if you're new to that or you just didn't really know, since we are moving into now multi-gig, you have to make sure that you do have the right cabling if you're trying to do 10 gig over longer distances. So Cat 6 will do 55 meters at 10 gigs, but you need Cat 6A in order to get the full 100 meters in the Ethernet cables to go full 10 gig. Otherwise, it will be a little bit less. And some of the naming conventions, RG is just a ruggedized switch. GS is a gigabit switch. MG is a multi-gig switch. XGS means it's a gigabit switch with 10 gig uplinks. So the X is just Roman numeral for 10. And then the XMG is a multi-gig switch, so mostly multi-gig ports, 2.5 and 5, etc., and 10 gig uplink ports. XS is a 10 gig switch, so it means all the ports are 10 gig capable, as well as any multi-gig in between. And then the CX is basically like 100. So the Roman numeral C for 100. So CX is 100 gig uplink capable. So it's a 10 gig slash 25 gig port switch with 100 gig uplinks capable. If it ends in an HP, then it could be a PoE plus or PoE plus plus. EP is more like an eco power switch, so the budget is a little smaller, but it's cost savings there. But it's also still a PoE plus 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 or PoE plus plus. If it's an FP, it's usually full power or larger power budget. So it can support up to like a 960 watt, for example. And if it ends with an F, then it's a fiber version switch, meaning that most of the ports on there are fiber transceivers, SFP or SFP plus. And then the PoE budgets, you can see we're already moving into the Ultra PoE 90 watt as well. So that's this technology. Most of our switches will give you 30 and 60 watts, depending on the configuration that you buy. And then we have full suite of fiber transceivers, modules, and direct attached cables. We also have the 25 gig QSFP 28s and the 100 gig QSFP 28s for uplinks of those CX models. And it has auto topology, has the VLAN, as I mentioned earlier, site cloning, et cetera, within the switch environment. And it's also scaled from a small office environment with basic, this is the lowest end model that has Nebula Cloud, all the way up to project-based where you're doing MDUs, you're doing campuses and data centers and things like that with the higher end SMB Ultimate products. Some quick snapshots of some of the models, especially might be new to you. The PoE 12 3PD we launched a few months ago that has 3 ports of PoE. You can inject it with PoE to power it remotely. So you can run 60 watts into this, and then you'll have 45 watts of PoE on the other 3 ports to use for whatever you want. So it could be a camera, it could be other access points, and it's also ruggedized for outdoor, so it's waterproof as well. So it's IP rated so that you can use it on a pole mount, and deliver power, up to 200 meters past the original PoE injection. You can also inject power using our injectors. We have a 30 watt, 60 watt, and a 90 watt option there. Very affordable, very cost effective if you're just needing a single PoE port injected with power and delivering data. The XMG 1915 series is the lowest level multi-gig switch that has Nebula support. So it has all those multi-gig ports. And our GS 1350 series is our IP camera specific switch models that have extended range built in. So this can actually inject enough power to go up to 250 meters of PoE to get to a camera. So you don't have to put an extender or a relay switch in between. It has very high powered PoE budget as well as being Nebula Cloud manageable. This is our bread and butter, our GS 1920. It's a gigabit switch that has gigabit uplinks, but it has lots of ports with PoE, different options there, all manageable in the cloud if necessary. Our XGS is a 10 gig version of that, meaning it has 10 gig uplinks so that you can utilize that for a 10 gig core instead of a gigabit core. And all of these switches are link ag, so you can combine multiple ports together to get a bigger port trunk, overall throughput from that. Our XS 1935 is our new models of their 10 gig only switches. So it comes with a copper version. There's the all fiber 10 gig version, as well as a PoE copper version for 10 gig. Our XGS 2220 is our fully layer 2, layer 3 managed. So it can be managed from CLI or managed in the Nebula Cloud platform, but also offer very high PoE budgets. So 960 watts, 600 watts, and 400 watts for the different port counts there. Still manageable in our Nebula Cloud, and it comes with 1 year of Nebula Pro. And the XGS has 10 gig uplinks as well, so then you can build in your 10 gig core within this network. And then we just launched, or are launching, this month, the XMG 2230, which is the same class as the previous model, but now it's multi-gig ports and very high PoE budgets, all the way up to 2400 watts of PoE if you're using the DC connector within this device. So it comes with both the AC and the DC. If you have it plugged in AC, it gives you 700 watts. If you add it and plug it with the DC power, then it will get 1400 watts of PoE. And then the 48 port version will do 960 watts in the AC plug, but then we'll go and juice it up to 2400 watts if you're using DC power. So again, it's multi-gig ports as well as a mixture of that and 10 gig uplinks. The XS 3800 is a all 10 gig top of the rack type switch where you need a lot of different types of copper and fiber. So that will allow for you to have 10 gig all the way up to like 24 to 30 something ports. On our new generation CX 4800, this is a 48 port fiber switch. So it's 48 10/25 gig ports and has 8 100 gig uplinks. So it has a 4 terabyte black backplane throughput. It's hot swappable fans power. It's cloud managed in the Nebula as well, with layer 3 aggregation and stacking functions coming later on this year. So these switches are great for your businesses or small offices, or maybe larger offices where you might need more ports, maybe doing VoIP, things like that, or maybe doing triple play in an MDU. So you have your voice video data, you have your Wi-Fi networks, you have your access control panels, all the way up to even smart lighting or PoE lighting applications as well. So the last product line that we'll talk about in our networking stack is our cybersecurity solution, our USG Flex H and USG Lite series models. But with our security, it gives you access to security that's constantly evolving, so you don't have to. And we've partnered with some of the best-in-class cybersecurity experts in order to provide their solutions into our box. You get a single device that can do pretty much everything you normally would for a networking firewall. Very competitive to what you see on the enterprise level side market, but made for SMB. So you'll recognize some of these names like WebRoot. You'll have Trellix, which is formerly McAfee, providing the web filtering. So everything that you would normally want network control or application information control is provided within this kind of product. So you can actually log and initiate free content filtering services trial. You can try out the secure Wi-Fi functions, the connect and protect functionality, as well as the gold security. And most of our partners get gold security because it's everything. It includes 1 year pro, it includes your sandboxing, it includes your reporting tools, DNS, IP reputation, content filtering, anti-spam, malware protection. All of that was within the gold security pack. So most of our partners just go to that and provide the whole suite of protection. It's also AI powered, so information that's sent to the cloud is also digested and also shared within the ecosystem that is managing that those security licenses. You can extend the intelligence of that using the Nebula side through SecuReporter to easily monitor and identify threats. And you can customize reports, providing that to your customers seamlessly. So it will tell you, threat management, threats, how much bandwidth someone's using, which websites people are going to the most, things like that. It's centralized management, so it allows for you to synchronize changes and update security changes that might be on certain customers and certain networks. It helps us simplify those remote workplaces using secure Wi-Fi or two-factor authentication, as well as doing secure Wi-Fi by dropping in one of the Zyxel access points, making a connection back to a firewall to provide you seamless Wi-Fi connectivity as if you were sitting in that office. So it does a layer 2 encryption tunnel to get to the office network. So you don't have to worry about VPNs, you don't have to worry about extra software on those remote devices. And it's also scaled in the same way as our switches and access points. where you have small home offices all the way up to large project-based, MDUs. We've done a lot of rodeos and amusement parks and such, and schools with the firewalls as well. So our lower end, I would say, our entry level product is our USG Lite 68X. It offers a subscription-free security, so it's built in as a standard with some ransomware protection. You can upgrade. You can add on additional services like content filtering and zero-day threat ransomware protection. And it's a nominal fee. I think it's about $50 a year street price for that service if you need that additional security. But it is built-in Wi-Fi. It has multi-gig ports. It can do load balancing and failover at the end of this month on the new firmware. But it gives you, again, a device that can do VPN and manageable in the cloud. Or you can use this. We have applications of this being used for point of sale systems that need better than just a SPI firewall, but need some level of security in order to protect those POS systems. Our USG Flex 50 series is our entry-level full UTM product line. So it gives you high-performance UTM as well as integrated PoE options in that. It was a PC Pro Technology Excellence Award winner in 2025. So we're proud of that. Our flagship firewall in this series is our USG 700H. It does 15 gigs of high-performance UTM, high-performance firewall, and with 4 gigs of high-performance UTM services. So all services turned on. I would recommend this to be made primarily for maybe a 2.5 gig WAN with full UTM securities turned on. All of our H series models, even if you bought the base pack, come with entry defense pack. It gives you some reputation filtering. It gives you SecuReporter to report threats and such. But ultimately, we want you and your customers to get to the gold bundle because it offers the entire suite of protection on the network. The AI cybersecurity intelligence powered by our SecuReporter provides those reports. As I mentioned earlier, create custom reports. You can put your logos up here and you can provide the information to your customers alongside with any bill that you are charging them on a monthly basis. And that really helps to improve, that answer the question your customers may be saying, hey, I'm paying X dollars a month for this service. How do I know it's even working? And that report and that customized report here is your perfect tool to say, hey, look, we blocked 400 ransomware attacks. We've blocked all of these threats. You can see who is going to what web pages, and we can take control over that if you'd like. But all of that is invaluable information to help support why they're continuing on with this service. So we scale along different ranges of throughput, and that's what I would say. If you're doing full security, you want to look at this one, which is UTM throughput, and this number that's on the data sheet. You typically will take 50 to 60% of this number, and that will help you dictate what WAN connection is can be used for this product without having to worry about is it enough bandwidth or bottlenecking your internet connection. So even on the low end here, if you take 50%, 50 to 60, that's like 300 megabits to 400 or 350 megabits per second internet connection. And then the USG Flex 700, the 4 gigabit UTM, that's where I come up with the 2.5 gig kind of UTM service, a speed that you have for your internet connection. But if you don't use any of those services, then of course you can look at then the highest level numbers that are here on the top level. But just keep that in mind. And I wanted to kind of share with you something that we've done recently and released some information. We did a third-party test through the Tully Group and in September, and these were the results. We wanted to see how Zyxel's UTM functionality and threat management malware scanners worked against like a Ubiquiti Dream Machine, which is very popular in the market that say they do security. But when you look at the actual efficacy, our detection rates are, very high in the whole results system here. Whereas the ubiquity side is quite low when you're talking about actual malware detection. So when you look at it from, comparing it to a sonic wall type product, which would be, I would say, our closest competitor in this space that we match up against. As well, the technology is that our efficacy on the anti-malware is actually very high. So compared to what they detect in that same test. So this is a third-party publication through Tolly that you can go to their website and you can download and look at the full report if you'd like. There's a link down here as well that you can go check that out for both the sonic wall and the ubiquity side. So it's perfect for teleworkers, for the small office, again, larger offices where you might need more bandwidth, more connectivity, or you can use a combination of all of them in order to make different connections in different size offices to a main office, or you can do hub spoke, you can do kind of like a mesh VPN as well through the system. So that's it for my product slides, but we do want to talk about our partner program. So you are getting discounts through distribution, whether you're using D&H, TD SYNNEX, Ingram Micro, Wave, Target, or Blue Star. You're getting your discounts there. If you, for some reason, don't see your discounts based on what the street price is, then you might want to ask your sales account manager to take a look at that and work with distribution and make sure that it's loaded correctly. Because we do want you to get to these max discounts on the gold side. To get gold, all you have to do is sell 12K of Zyxel products in 6 months. Every 6 months, we go through this kind of evaluation process to see where your discounts are. So if you can maintain that, most people will do this in a single project or maybe 2 projects. So that's in 6 months, you have 2 projects that close, 6K and you're in gold. Or if you have a project that is already on the 12K side of it, you can also get your sales rep to see if they can push you to that gold pricing for that special project in kind of ahead of the game or ahead of you qualifying for it. If you'd like to connect with me or us, you can go to LinkedIn and look for Zyxel-US-channel or on YouTube, Zyxel America channel. Or if you'd like to connect with me, you can just search on LinkedIn, Zyxel Tri, so Zyxel TRI. And now we have a little bit of time. I know we've covered a lot of solutions, a lot of products. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A section, and I will try to get to you to those questions. If not, if you don't think of anything right now, and you think of something later, you can always email me or send me comments, suggestions, things like that to try@zyxel.com. So TRI@zyxel.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Currently, we don't have any questions. I'm going to stick around for just another couple minutes. And then if you'd like, there's no questions there. If you don't have any questions, you can feel free to drop off. Or you can sit around and see if anybody asks a question. Then I'll be glad to answer those, and you can benefit from that. But in general, thank you so much. If you are going to be dropping off, thank you so much for joining me here. Sorry for my setup. I usually have a better setup when I'm at home, where I have my cameras and all that, where I'm inside the presentation. It makes it a little bit more interactive and fun in that regard. But we do what we have to do when we are traveling remote and such, and still want to maintain these connections that we have with you in these kinds of webinars. So I appreciate that. Appreciate having you. So it looks like there's nobody asking any questions right now. So again, if you want to watch this again, or if you have team members who want to take advantage of it, we will have this recording posted on our webpage under the webinar section of our website in a few hours, and then you'll be able to share that with your teammates. So until next time, thank you for being or considering being a Zyxel partner, and look forward to seeing you at a future one. Until next time, goodbye.